Koholam La Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai Wahara Kakudash. That's all praises to the Most High, who people call the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, who people call Jesus, whose true name is Yahweh Shai. Much respect and biblical love and many blessings to the elect, the hopeful elect, starting with the elder apostles at the Great Millstone Church, on down to the rest of the brothers truly pushing. All right? So getting into this is Proverbs 10 and 10. It says, in the elder bishop Salaki, it says, Proverbs 10 and 10, it says, he that winketh with the eye causeth sorrow. So this lesson is going to be dealing with, blocking comment board bug outs. All right, which I'm gonna deal with that and proving that, and why. I'm gonna build on that upon this saying from Solomon. All right, which was Proverbs 10 and 10. He that winketh with the eye causes sorrow, but a prating fool shall fall. So it says in NLT, people who wink at wrong cause trouble, but a bold reproof promotes peace. So he that winketh that with the eye causes sorrow. So when you see, basically dealing with these bug outs, these comment board bug outs, man, these scoffers, these people that pop up, you see it for what it is and you accept it. All right, you don't wink at it, because when you do, meaning when you do, you try to make it out as if it's okay, you give it a pass, because then you're gonna be disquieted with madness. It's gonna bring a slew of trouble. All right. This is Proverbs 27 and 12. It says, I'm gonna start at 11. My son, be wise and make my heart glad, that I may answer him that reproacheth me. All right, show people moving away to where, the Lord looks good, moving away to where you show the Lord showed us how to move. We gotta be like that. We gotta be brothers, men and brothers like that. Moving on, it says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Exactly. So we not winking at it. We see what it is. We see it from a mile away. Smell it. It is what it is. We're not winking at it. When you go into that word wink it, it's karats, which deals with what? Pretty much it's manifold. And in one way it could deal with the look of a man, how, like, for example, the scripture talk about how you got one that could, hang down his head set in, in a sad countenance, but, inwardly he's full of all type of deceit in the book of Sirach. But then in the other instance, which is the one I'm using, you got those that wink and they try to alter what they see. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go into the word wink it, again, it's karats, which means what?
Strong's H, 7169. Karats. Karats.
It says to be nipped or pinched off, be formed. And when you go into the Strong's definition, it says what? It says, blink the eyes as a gesture of malice, right? Or fully to squeeze off, this is the point, a piece of clay in order to mold a vessel from it. Exactly. So you try to take what it is you see, take from that, or take that, take from what it is you see and make it out to be something else, basically. But again, a prudent man foreseeth the evil. You're not gonna do that because you understand what this appearance, this dude is here to do. These scoffers, these people, it could be a woman. They here to do on the comment board, man. While you live. You know what I'm saying? So let's move on. Let's go to the book, Proverbs 4, and I'm gonna start at 11. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. See, I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. Again, this is from Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived. These is his sayings, all right, who's truly the Lord. But anyway, in the spirit, you can receive it. It says, I have led thee in the right path. See if I'm going to keep reading this. I'm going to just jump to the point. It says, verse 14, this is a commandment. Enter not, right, into the path of the wicked, and go not into the way of evil men. Avoid it. Pass not by it. Turn from it. Pass away. So you already see it for what it is. You see it from a mile away. I'm not even finna go down, this path with you. We're not even finna go down this road, as Jake say. As we like to say. Because you already know what they own, what that path consists of, which is their path. You know what the path that they be on consists of. It's nothing but more, on that path is nothing but more than strife. Strife, contentions, all these different things. It says, for they sleep not except they have done mischief. And that word mischief is evil. These are mischievous, evil people, broken people. When you go into the word mischief in the Hebrew. All right. It says, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. See, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. So these are very, just evil people a lot of the times. If you perceive it, it is what it is, man. All right. It says in the NLT, I'm going to read this. It says, I'm going to start at 15. Don't even think about it. Don't go that way. Turn away and keep moving. See that? And keep moving. For evil people cannot sleep until they have done their evil deed for the day. They just trying to make you the next victim of their folly. The next disquieted person that's holding to the thing that they offended in. They hate. It says they, which is the truth, for whatever reason. It says, because it doesn't approve of them, so forth and so on. It revealed them and stopped them, and it's trying to stop them from doing the wicked folly they want to be on and want to continue in. It says they can't rest until they cause someone to stumble, and that's obviously dealing with brothers in the truth, those that's on the right path. Read no. It says back in the KJV, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. See, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. And that's the spirit. See, because they'll try to come off like they're in the truth. That's why it says them sporting themselves, blemishes they are. In the New Testament, sporting themselves, if I may get it, while they eat with you. So meaning they come around like they in the truth, but they'll use that to get to you. Blemishes in your feast. See if I can get it. When they shouldn't even be there. So they not really in the truth, basically. They faking it. It says 2 Peter 2:13, and shall reward, it says, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, and as they counted pleasure to riot in the daytime. Like, exactly. Like this the place to do it. Like this the time you ought to be doing this. That's why the scriptures say, when thou goest to the house of God, keep thy foot. And be more ready to hear it and give the sacrifice of fools. And that's when you got a fool, because they come on the comment board running their mouth and doing these things. And once you've been around the block a couple of times with this event, this experience, these individuals, you'll know it when you see it, man. And it probably be the same person, because you done gave them mercy, if you will. Like you already did this with them before. But you didn't go about it in the way you should have, and hence you got to learn that they was a fool. And why the scriptures and the likes of Solomon say what they say, Because see, Solomon, when he dealt with that woman, the two women arguing, see how he handled that? He didn't get all in a uproar. He ain't feed into their folly. He sat back discerning for what it was, to where he can, get the matter handled and he don't look a certain way. But anyway, it says, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness as they counted pleasure to riot in the daytime. Spots they are and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you. But they ain't really feasting, because it says Proverbs 4:17, for they eat, right, the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. So they're coming, that's like coming into the same building, but they bring their own food. Here it is, we supposed to be eating this bread, this wine, which is the truth, the word, Yahweh Shemi Shah, all right? And they eating some whole of some whole other doctrine, some whole other God, you know? But they here amongst you. And that's what you end up seeing through a lot of these comment board, bugouts, scoffers, reprobates, offended men, dudes, or women. It says, let me read on. It says, but the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. Exactly, which is that path that Solomon said, what? Verse 11, I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in the right paths. See that when thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, right? So when you go to do your lessons, you go to, be in the elements and hit the highways, hedges, because you might deal with a comment board scoffer, if you will, like just in person, in the flesh. It's the same thing ultimately, if you will. But you already been, given a game on how to deal, because you can recognize it when you see it, and you ain't all offended in the way of stumbling, you know what I'm saying? Which is what they want you to do. But it says, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. See that? That's it. So you hold to this, man. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. So again, when you see that crap, it says, but the path, verse 18 but the path of the just is as the shining light that's shining more and more unto the perfect day. We're going to stay right here. Stay on what you know. You already know what that is because they're trying to distract. All right? So we move on. This is Proverbs 26:4. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him. See? Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him. So they come on talking whatever they talking. They might come with the folly, out the gate. Ask some dumb question. You know what I'm saying? Some fake question, cloak it, whatever, however. You don't respond to that. That's where you get the, somebody say something dumb and people be like, well, can pigs fly? It's like, it's one of those moments. But that goes without saying. In this instance, it says, answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. So if they say something to where something edification could come out, and they might be a first timer, if you will, then you can correct them so they don't go on thinking they right. But you still, the point is block them. You could deal with the pretty much the ammo they provided for you to bring the truth out even more, with them themselves being a fool or being, whatever. And then, edification can come out to the rest, to the body, to the true listeners. That's fine, but the point is, at the end of the day, you block them, all right? Because you're gonna know if they really about this or not. It says, reading on, verse 7, the legs of the lame are not equal. So that's people that don't even understand. They might come, with some scripture saying, this talking about this talking about this. But it says, but they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how to go about it. They don't understand how you get the understanding of the scriptures for real. You know, if they do, they don't hold to it. Line upon line, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. They don't hold to that, man. They ain't speaking according to the word, so forth and so on. You know, the scriptures don't contradict itself, and the Lord is not the author of confusion. So in understanding that, you will be able to, you know, the spirit with you, you know, get the understanding. But it says the legs of the lame are not equal. So is a parable in the mouth of fools. So the point is, you can't do nothing with it. This person already don't know the walk. They don't understand the truth. They don't know how to maneuver or navigate through the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? They're not even in this. And then they got legs that are not only disabled, right? They can't walk, but they uneven. You can't do nothing with those legs. That's the equivalent of when they try to bring out a wise saying, you know, or a scripture. No matter what they present, like, it's just gonna be madness. You know, so we don't want to hear it, man. We don't want to hear it. And then they'll continue on, right? It says, verse 12, seest thou a man wise in his own conceit? There is more hope of a fool than of him, because they'll just think, you'll see, okay, they just want to present and push what they think, what they want to believe. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't according to nothing as it ought to be, which is according to the scriptures and according to the witnesses, according to the prophets, according to the doctrine. They ain't even on the highways and hedges. They're not nowhere. Don't even do videos, but on your comment board trying to make videos. Talking about a whole nother God. You know? So you basically see they just saying this is right because they believe they right. They want to believe they right. It ain't about what's right and how it's right. If it's right. That's a man wise in his own conceit. And it's more hope of a fool, meaning somebody that just don't know, than this person. You know? So that's when you know, okay, this is, you know, block material. You know? Moving on. It says, I got a couple more. It says Proverbs 27 and 4. It says wrath. In fact, make sure I could just read the rest of this. Just madness. Yeah, I'll jump here. It says wrath is cruel. Proverbs 27 and 4, and anger is outrageous, but who is able to stand before envy? Exactly. And when you really deal with envy, that's somebody that, like it tell you right here. Let's go to this. Sirach 37 and 10, consult not with one that suspected thee, and hide thy counsel from such as envy thee. Exactly why you block them. Once you figure out, okay, because most of these times they just haters. Like that's what a person that envy is. They just on the comment board hating. But then what that really show you, right? These because they're called basically they envious. That shows you they always watching you. Because if someone can't envy something about you or envy things unless they watching you. When people become envious, they looking at you, they observing everything about you, listening to you, man. Look at him and this, you know, and then brother, look at the brothers and, you know, he wearing this, he got this, he said this, they got them Bibles and blah, blah, blah. So they mean they watching everything about you. And a lot of times these dudes really they agent spies. But that's another lesson, you know? And so you want to go before somebody that's on it like that. You want to get them away from you because they envious. That means they watching everything about you. They truly hate you. All right? So this is in here probably, and I got one more Proverbs 4. It says Proverbs 26 and 18, as a bad man casts his firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man that deceiveth his right? So is the man that deceiveth his neighbor and said, am not I in sport? So that's basically, they playing, you know? So these are, it says, as a madman who casted fire, brands, arrows, and death, right? Bringing forth a bunch of chaos, destruction. So is the man that deceived his neighbor and said, am not I in sport? So this is a person just set up to just bring straight destruction to you. And they're a devil because they're dudes will go, I'm just playing. You guys can't take a joke. That's a madman. They're not aware of they're not aware of what they're doing, you know, and what it can bring forth. And matter of fact, that go back to this other one I had right here. Yeah, Proverbs 4:19. It says, the way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. Exactly. You know, they don't know what's going on. So if you're really trying to, you know, find yourself in a situation to see, okay, is it really this person? Because I haven't dealt with them, you know, because you know if you done dealt with them before, if they really own this, if they really own that. You use Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 10 and finish that chapter out real quick. These verses I had. This is Proverbs 10 because it deals with what? The contrast of the righteous and the wicked. So when you deal with verse 7, it says, the memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. So this deals with a person rep, right? So when you jump down to verse 9, he that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverted his ways shall be known. Okay, is this truly a bug out? Is this person sincere? It says, he that winketh with the eye, my family jumped down, I already did that. It says, the mouth of a righteous man is a well of life. See, the mouth of a righteous man is a well of life, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. Hatred stirreth up strifes. See, hatred stirreth up strifes. So this is when you know who this is you're dealing with. Are they bringing forth things that's going to cause just big arguments and strife? You know? Because if so, you got somebody that's really just watching, being weird, you know, being evil, that's broken, probably somebody offended, old scoffer, that's truly hating, you know? That you can go ahead and block them, man. All right, it says hatred stirreth up strife, but love covereth all sins, you know? And that's how you end it. You see it for what it is, and you won't become a victim to it because we follow what the scriptures say. That's why I says love covereth all sins. What's love? The keeping of the commandments. What's another word for commandments? Precepts. All right. So it says Proverbs 10:16. Yeah, I'm gonna jump to 17. He is in the way of life. He is in the way of life that keepeth instruction. See, but he that refuseth reproof erreth. So this is when you know, okay, this person, they come up with scriptures, but the way they move and what they doing, they causing strife, they bringing slander, you know what I'm saying? They doing things the Lord hate. You know they not in this. This is somebody that's just set up to really come test you, you know, to stop you from being on the path. Despite how they may try to paint it. Verse 18, he that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander, and he that uttereth a slander is a fool. See, is a fool. They come slandering you. First the scripture, you know, they might come docile, they might come just turn out the gate, but they might come docile. Then they come with scriptures. Then they come lying, saying you said this, this person said that. Then they come pushing evil reports. You know, that come out of nowhere. This is how you know you got yourself what Solomon's describing here. But you got block material, man. All right, and that's the Lord ultimately saying through the Spirit. All right, it says, in the multitude of words there wanted not sin. See, in the multitude of words there wanted not sin. Meaning you got when they got a bunch of talk going on. It's a bunch of talk. The last thing you don't have going for yourself is going off. You know, they come with all these scriptures, ain't listening, all these comments, whatever. They're going off because it says, in the multitude of words there wanted not sin. Meaning they ain't got nothing but, in the NLT it says talk too much talk leads to sin. See, too much talk leads to sin. So you can already tell if you're dealing with a fool. Be sensible and keep your mouth shut. And when they not being sensible, they just constantly, reading on. It says the tongue in the KJV of the joy of the just is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked, right, is little worth. And you can say all those comments, say whatever they got to say, it ain't worth nothing. Again, it's as a parable, from the wicked, whose legs are lame and uneven. It ain't good for nothing, so we don't care what you're talking about. It's that simple. All they there to do is just cause mischief. So I can go ahead and shut this down now. This is Proverbs 4 and 24. Put away from thee a forward mouth. Yeah, I'm gonna start at 20. My son, attend to my words, incline thy ears into my sayings. Let them not depart from thy eyes, keep them in the midst of thine heart, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. But have these people letting your blood pressure go high, man. It says, keep thy heart with all diligence, right? For out of it are the issues of life, right? How you perceive of things, where you at mentally, if you hold to the scriptures. Letting stuff get in your head instead of letting the perception that you are to have, that the scriptures give you, reign, from your perspective. To where you won't have the issues of life. You won't make these people out to be more than what they is. It's somebody I need to deal with, I need to know. Just block them, bro. It says, put away from thee a forward mouth and perverse lips. Put far from thee. And what does perverse mean? Well, let's go to the Google really quick.
Perverse.
It says, of a person or their actions showing a deliberate or an obstinate desire to behave in a way that is unreasonable or unacceptable, often in spite of the consequences. I already know they're gonna block me, so I'm gonna say all of this, blah, blah, blah. That's a perverse, that's a perverse person. Synonyms: awkward, contrary, difficult, unreasonable, uncooperative, unhelpful, obstructive, so forth and so on. Troublesome, tiresome, annoying, vexatious. See, disobedient, unmannered. You can't do nothing with them. Uncontrollable. That's block material, man. And you can read the rest of these yourself. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and close out. It says, put away from thee a forward mouth and perverse lips. Put far from thee. That's command. That's commandment. A precept. It says, let thine eyes look right on. Let thine eyes look right on. And let thine eyelids look straight before thee. We focus, because they want to just try to take you off the path. And from the edification that you bringing, it says, and be distracted. Point of the lesson was this, but they got you going somewhere else. Ponder the path of thy feet and let thy ways be established. Exactly. See it, look, second look, and the scriptures should meet you in every thought. You move on, man. You done seen this before, because you read the scriptures or you already dealt with it. Ponder the path of thy feet, let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand, nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. This in the NLT. Don't get sidetracked. Keep your feet from following evil. Yeah, they just trying to damn bait you. So, call on my Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shah. Block comment board bugouts.